Hi, it's Tuesday afternoon, just starting to get sunny, and I'm outside the university parks, and I'm going to take a similar sort of route to Headington, to ones that I've done in the past. I need to go to Headington anyway to get some seaweed, but I'm going to make part of the route slightly different. I'm going to go up Jack Straw's Lane, and there's a connection with Lewis Carroll that I'll talk about, and we can see how the parks look now that it's September. So let's go. Sadly, this looks like being one of the last sunny days, or reliably sunny days at any rate. So the parks have been used by a good number of visitors. Loads of Americans and others staying over the summer and playing games and sunbathing. And it looks as though the park authorities have cleared up after that. The grass is a uniform length. I guess it's been mown recently. Students won't be back for about a month yet, though there will be graduates will be coming back a bit earlier, mid-September I think, but undergraduates not until round about the first week in October. Over there is the University Science area, Keble. And we've had a fair amount of rain, so the grass looks less parched than it did last week. Little bit of cricket practice taking there, it seems. There's the elegant little cricket pavilion. This is a huge contrast to the noise and bustle of the Cowley Road Carnival, which I visited on Sunday. That's the so-called tentorium, the base of Park's operations. Right, I've skirted round the tentorium. And I'm going to go to the Rainbow Bridge. Where I can cross into the New Marston estate, then cross the Marston Road, and then go up Jack Straw's Lane. So there's the bridge, built 1906 or thereabouts. And this is the Charwell, Cherwell looking south. And Cherwell looking north. I don't see anyone punting today, but it is still possible to punt, and it's the last month, I think, that you can do so for at least all of the month, because I think punt hires will stop in October. There are 2 boat houses, one by Magdalen Bridge on the High Street and one a little north of here by the Cherwell Boathouse restaurant. And they both hire punts to the public. Colleges will hire punts to their own members, but the 2 boat houses are the ones that hire to the public. And then you can also get river boats from Salters, I think Salters do them, and Oxford River cruises, though I think they'll only go up and down the Thames, not the Cherwell. So it's worth taking advantage of these places while they're still open, before it becomes too late in the autumn. I walked along here a few weeks ago and was attracted to do so by the fluff on the thistles, and I think that's now past its best. It's certainly looking rather bedraggled. I'm glad to see the rain hasn't left any significant puddles. Thought it might. Always a hazard when you live on a floodplain. That's towards Headington Hill, and you can't see it, but that's more past Wolfson College and towards the Marston Ferry Road. If I turn left there, I can go to various parts of the New Marston estates a little bit further north, or all the way to St Nicholas School at the end of the Marston Ferry Road where it meets Charwell Drive, and that also takes me into the village of Old Marston. But going right is what I'm going to do. I could have walked more directly by going along the cycle path through the parks, but I do prefer not to be surrounded by cyclists going at top speed. On a weekend in the middle of September, Oxford traditionally has 2 days of what they call Oxford Open Days or Oxford Open Doors, when a lot of buildings are thrown open to the public. And the notice I briefly pointed my camera at near the Rainbow Bridge was advertising one of those, an open day at Park Farm. And I think we're just approaching Park Farm now, so I'll probably see some more adverts. Yep, there it is. Discover science taking place right here in Marston. Learn about biodiversity and what's new at Park Farm. Get hands-on with science at our activity stalls. Take a guided trail walk. Painting masterclass, bird ringing demonstration, nature quiz and games. So that's Park Farm. Tree cutting. Okay. I think they're inside a field. Now that's something they could let the older children have a go at. Cutting off branches. Treescape. Okay, so now I'm on Edgway Road, which is the furthest road south but one for the New Marston estate. The next road south is the one that contains the Orthodox Church. Church of St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker. It's funny actually, I dreamt about Russian wonders last night, just remembered. Can't remember what it was. I think it was the cover of a fairy story book which started with chudo or some such, which is the word for wonder. I think that house has only just changed colour. Sometimes you find some good stuff here. I found a whole box of provisions once with bags of pulped chestnut puree from Merchant Gourmet. What do we have here? I'm going to cut for a moment. Some nice stuff. I just got a book called Feminists Don't Wear Pink. I don't know why they don't wear pink, but it might be interesting. Actually, I don't know when women started being associated with pink, but I wonder whether William Perkin had anything to do with it. He discovered the first synthetic aniline dye in 1870 something, I think it was, when he was carrying out a chemical reaction to do something quite different. And I think he discovered it in Oxford in the Dyson-Perrins laboratory, or whatever the forerunner thereof was. The dye he discovered became called mauvine, for purple, and anybody who's heard of Romans and their attachment to the colour purple knows how important this was and how much purple was revered. So mauvine was a great fashion discovery, and Perkin then went on to discover other dyes, or find other dyes of various colours. So he should be celebrated as one of the Oxford heroes. I don't know whether he discovered any pink dyes. Personally, I quite like pink, and I'm very happy to wear it. See, for example, there. I'm now walking along Marston Road, and I'm going to turn right at a church and go up Jack Straw's Lane. And it seems that Jack Straw's Lane is named after a character called Jack Straw, who had a house variously known as Jack Straw's farmhouse or Jack Straw's castle, somewhere in the middle of the lane, I think. And from photos I've seen, the house later became referred to as Bellevue. And the house was actually a little bit to the north of the lane, I think. And it may be what originated Jack Straw's Lane, because until the 20th century, Jack Straw's Lane was basically just a track to Jack Straw's farmhouse from Pullen's Lane, which I've been to on previous videos and which I'll come to next. Jack Straw was traditionally supposed to be a farmer living on Headington Hill. No connection with any other Jack Straw of the same name, including the former Labour politician. And when he died, apparently, the references say this, a cellar under his kitchen was found to be full of expensive stolen goods stolen from travellers and merchants, including silk, gold, silver and spices. There was also a brickworks somewhere between Jack Straw's farmhouse and this road, though the brickworks may have been more recent than the farmhouse. So there's the church at the bottom of Jack Straw's Lane. There's a nice little nature reserve, Milham Ford Nature Reserve, on the right-hand side, which is a good place to rest. I used it to meet friends in the summer of 2020 when I didn't want to see them inside, or possibly I wasn't even allowed to see them inside if we were going through a lockdown at the time. As I say, Jack Straw's Lane wasn't named until the 20th century, and there wasn't much built on it. Oh God, there seems to be even more being built on it now. First time I've seen those. But in any case, I think building started in about 1890 with what was called Cowley House, 1898 according to my notes, with what was called Cowley House, which is now a nursery about halfway up on the right, I think. And then more and more houses started being built, biggish ones with large grounds and what are now mature trees. And it's rather like Harberton Mead, which I went up soon after I started doing the videos. Well-off people living here and probably astronomical house prices. Very quiet. I'm reasonably sure that one of the people on the left, further up, is or was a multiple property owner. He owned a large number of houses around Oxford which he rented out, as well as at least one shop. Okay, that's new building 2, but slightly older than the one I pointed at further down. So that calls itself a nursery. And is presumably the first house, Cowley House, 1898. And now the character of the houses has changed. That's the John Radcliffe Hospital in the distance. And I'm now at the end of the main bit of Jack Straw's Lane. And I want to go along here to get to Pullen's Lane. This is the tail end of Jack Straw's Lane. And there's one house I'm looking for. Very nice. What I hadn't anticipated is that some of the houses may be so far back that I won't be able to see them.
all right with that?
I can see all right.
Are you looking for an address?
Yes, I am. Do you happen to know a house that looks like that, with a turret on the right-hand side?
Yeah, well, I've seen it, but I'm not absolutely sure where it is. It could be along here. Just keep looking.
Thanks very much. The information
I'm sorry, I'm not...
says that it's probably at the end where this meets Pullen's Lane.
Oh, yes, it could be. I'm only going for a little way anyway. I walk with you.
Okay. Okay, I'm just checking, but I'm pretty sure that I bypassed it. And I'm almost certain that it was Pullen's End, which I don't think I can see any of from the road. It'll be somewhere back behind the trees, I think. And Pullen's End looks like that. A distinctive feature being a large turret on the right. And until 1930, it was apparently called Torbrex, and it's connected with. Sorry, I'll get out of the way of that car. Okay, until 1930, it was apparently called Torbrex, and I'm mentioning it because Lewis Carroll visited it. You can imagine him walking here. The house was inhabited by a Patrick Henderson, who was a fellow of Wadham College until 1903, when he became the warden, the head of the college. And there's a diary entry written by Lewis Carroll. His real name, Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, as we know, but I'm calling him Lewis Carroll because it's easier. There's a diary entry written for the 24th of June 1885 as followed: called on the Hendersons up Headington Hill. Annie, whose age he doesn't give directly, but is obviously 14, is now taller than Mrs. Henderson. And Lillian is a lovely little creature of 5.5. Well, that's just a nice family visit, but it says a little about the things that Carroll did. Okay, well, I can't get at Pullen's End, but I need to walk in this direction anyway to get to Headington and my seaweed, so let's go. So this is no longer Jack Straw's Lane. If it's anything, it's Pullen's Lane, which I think was named after a tree planted by Mr. Pullen, maybe 2 centuries before Carroll was writing. And what I'm going to do is to turn to the left onto Cuckoo Lane, which is an ancient footpath, maybe 1,000 years old or more, that goes up to Headington. These days it stops where you'll see me stop, but in the old days it went further, apparently, to Bury Knoll Park, the north edge of Bury Knoll Park. There is at least one language school here, so you'll hear a lot of voices besides English. There, for example. And now I'm on Cuckoo Lane. And the vegetation here is very definitely looking worn out. Well, I'm now on Woodlands Road and I'm going in the same direction as the Headington Road, further into Headington, but I'm a little way north of it. And within not too long I'll be passing the John Radcliffe Hospital. So this is still Cuckoo Lane. Well, I'm entering the Headington shopping area now. That's towards Headington. And this is the nasty bit of Cuckoo's Lane. The people who own this house have made it a lot gloomier by raising their garden fence to a ridiculous height. They probably post the most intimate information on Facebook, so it's odd that they worry so much about physical privacy. That also leads to the Headington shops. I think just round the corner at the end of the road used to be a bank and is now an ice cream place. And this is the end of Cuckoo Lane. In the old days, as I said, it apparently continued onto the other side of the road, if there was a road here then, which there probably wasn't, and into what is now Berry Knoll Park. And that's moving away from the shops. There's a very nice pub called the White Hart round the corner on the left, famous for its pies and its large garden, and it serves Everard's beer. And there's another pub, the Black Boy, on the right. And just to take a quick look around, That's towards Berry Knoll Park too. It's a pretty area, Old Headington. That one I haven't been in for some time. It used to be a Morell's pub, but the brewery disappeared a long time ago. That goes down to Barton, that path. It looks very enticing, but sadly it ends up with none of that promise. St Andrew's Road. St Andrew's Church. That's the White Hart pub that I mentioned, and that's the one I normally go to if I'm round here. As I say, it's got a big garden on the other side, and it serves Everards, and it does nice food. I must say I wouldn't mind a beer now actually, but it's so expensive in Britain, so I think I'll skip it. So now I'm going back towards the main Headington Road. This really is hell, this road. You just can't get out of the way of cars. That's a car park just before Bury Knoll Park. Right, well, I'm coming up to the main shops now. There are a lot of cafes for people who want refreshment. including the Costa there. I think there's a Greg's somewhere around. There are some independent cafes further up on the right, including, I think, at least one that serves hot chocolate. The one I went to last time is Il Botanico, which is just over on the other side of the road, and which is where I'm going to get my seaweed. Oh, and there's that. Okay, so this is where I've started or ended on one or two other videos, and it's where I'm going to end today. So I came through the parks, walked up Edgway Road onto the Marston Road, and then turned left for a bit, and then walked up Jack Straw's Lane, looked for Pullen's End, and then walked sort of around until Cuckoo Lane, and I've come along that, taken a brief diversion in that direction, and come back, and I'm at the Thong Heng Oriental supermarket. So I'll see you next time.